My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister. This week, the Morrison-Joyce government announced the reopening of our international borders. Will the Deputy Prime Minister please update the House on how the aviation and transport sectors will facilitate international travellers and help boost the tourist economy? And is the Deputy Prime Minister aware of any alternate approaches?
The Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question and also briefly would also like to acknowledge the great service of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as both in her service to the Commonwealth and her example to the world on the dignity of high office. Mr Speaker, obviously tourism is incredibly important, and I note the member for Cowper, and especially places such as Port Macquarie and Coffs Harbour that rely so heavily on what was a peak of 1.2 million passengers a month, which in the midst of the pandemic went down to merely 6,500. This caused incredible stress on so many businesses throughout the member for Cowper's electorate. But not only the member for Cowper, but the tourism industry that is seen in such things as Uluru, Alice Springs and Kakadu in the member for Lingiari's seat, or in the member for Dawson, the Great Barrier Reef and Whitsundays, or the member for Leichhardt with Cairns, the Great Barrier Reef, Capricornia, Carnarvon Gorge, Great Keppel Island, Mount Etna National Park, and it goes on. In the member for Hunter's seat, who's not here today, the wineries of Colpin and Barrington Tops. So, Mr Speaker, it is with great pleasure that we once more open up our nation to get ourselves back onto the footing on the tourism industry that we were beforehand, to meet the position that we've reached, especially on an economic basis with the great work of the Treasurer, with the exceptionally low unemployment and economic growth. The CEO of Qantas last night contacted me directly, telling me that there was, and I quote, "great news about the international borders means Australia is truly open for business. Fantastic for the industry as a whole and for the regions that have been doing it tough without the flow of tourists and labour. Thanks for staying the course." And in noting staying the course, he of course notes the great support that was given by the Commonwealth Government to keep the airline industry in a position where they can be the greatest beneficiaries of now this new opening. This is going to be incredibly important that people such as Virgin Australia also get back in the air. And the CEO, Jane Herdlicker, said, "Today's announcement made by the Australian Government is an important step forward in reigniting the travel industry and opening Australia to the rest of the world at a critical time of recovery. This will also come as positive news for travellers looking to reconnect with loved ones in Australia and will be a huge boost for our tourism industry." Of course, it goes without saying, I go back to the member for Cowper and the immense work he has done for the travel agents. We will note that the travel agents also will be looking forward to the reopening of these borders and the reinvigoration of their income stream.